If you didn't have to work, what would you do all day? How would you spend your 24 hours if you could do anything you want to do? That's a question I always ask people, and people always give me the quintessential. I would travel, I would do this and a third, and the truth of the matter is, it's boring. Life is boring when you don't work because it becomes a full-time job just trying to find something to do every day. And that's kind of a short story of how I got into barbering. To backtrack, I started doing Airbnb in 2017. And that's kind of all I did from 2017 to 2023. And I thought I would live for the rest of my life. Also, I started doing Turo in 2018. So I was doing Turo and Airbnb full time. That's all I did. Nothing else. And I thought I would die or retire doing that because at the height of it all, I was making about 24 grand to 28 grand a month. On the low end, 24 grand. On the high end, 28 grand. Now, mind you, that's what I was grossing. That's not what I was netting. So I'm a single man. I don't have any kids. I just take care of myself. So that was a lot of money for me. And I was content. But life has a funny way of life, and we go through the pandemic. My Airbnb income slows down, obviously because people weren't traveling. But by this time, I had ramped up my Turo game, and at this point, I had 11 cars on Turo and I had 12 Airbnbs. But I wasn't really making money during the pandemic on Airbnb because of obvious reasons. And so I was letting Airbnbs go, and I wasn't really worried about replacing them because my Turo income had offset the losses I took on Airbnb. So during that whole time period, all I did was play basketball, sun up to sundown, every day for 7 years. I hooped. So my schedule would be basically like I hoop at 9 a.m., take a lunch break at 12 a.m., hoop again at 2:45, and depending on the day, I might hoop again at 7 p.m. And I'm not gonna say I was content with that because it did become monotonous and very boring, but hooping was the only hobby I had, and that's just what I built my life around, playing basketball. So fast forward, during the pandemic, they shut down the gyms, and it left me with nothing to do all day. They opened the gyms back up, but it was never the same. They ended up closing the prominent gym I hooped at every day. I'm in Houston, Texas. And if you're from Houston, if you hoop, there's a 24-hour fitness downtown. That's where all the good runs were. They shut that gym down, and it literally turned my world upside down because that gym was not only a place where I hooped, but that's where I became sociable. That's how I interacted with people. That's how I got human connection because I'm not a partier. I don't go out. I don't go to clubs. I don't go to bars, anything like that. I just play basketball. So once that gym was shut down, this was May of 2023. My life was void of everything. I would literally just wake up and stare out the window every day. And by this time, mind you, outside of hooping, I've traveled. I've done all the things I want to do. I was kind of bored with life, and it was I felt very unproductive just waking up and doing nothing every day. And even if you have a little bit of money, there's nothing to do every single day. So I was just really looking for the next step in life, and a way to feel something again, and a way to feel productive in society. So at the time I was dating a woman, we were just laying in her bed discussing, what we want to do in life. And I always said I want to own a barbershop because growing up, the hustlers or entrepreneurs I saw, they all own barbershops. So I want to do the same thing. We had a conversation for an hour about that. And mind you, I had never cut hair before. I didn't know anything about barbering, barbershops, none of that. But I'm always down to try something new. Like I'm a spur of the moment person. I just go with it. I don't really think things through. I just do. So out of that conversation, I called around to local barber colleges, and a lot of them wanted me to take the financial aid route. So I was looking to just pay cash, and I ended up enrolling in Houston Barber College because they were willing to not only accept cash, but it was relatively cheap. Like they told me if I could come pay 3,500, I could start school the next day. And this was June of 2023, June 6th, 2023. I started school. And that is how I started my barbering journey. And it's funny now thinking back about it because I just really did that abruptly, like off based off one conversation. So I enrolled in school. Fast forward to October of 2023. At this time, I'm still doing Turo, which at the time I'm probably making like on a slow month 9 grand, on a good month 11 grand, which is vastly different from the 20K months, but it's still more than enough for me. And lo and behold, in the midst of me going to school, Turo closed down my account. And this is how I was paying all my bills at the time. My rent was like 2,300. I had a Tesla. It was about 900 a month and other miscellaneous bills. But that's how I paid all my bills, was through Turo. So with them shutting down my account, which is based on reviews. So how I run my Turo business, I only buy cash cars, and people were giving me 4-star reviews based on the brand of the car and not their experience. People thought 5-star reviews were reserved for higher end cars like a Mercedes, a Tesla, or Maybach or something. That kind of just put me on my head, and it put me in a position where I was having to take barbering seriously because it was the only thing I could think of to make money in the long run, because I knew that I probably would never find a job that would pay me what I'm used to being paid, because I don't have a college degree and I have, like, at this point, no work history. So I was kind of forced into, like, I'm having to take barber seriously. And I was very delusional about barbering as well, because I thought, okay, once I graduate barber school, I'm going to just charge everyone $100 per cut, and I'll be A-okay. And I'll be right back where I'm used to being. And boy, was I wrong. But that's a story for another day. So I sold all my Turo cars, and I lived off the money I had from selling all those cars for a year. Fast forward to July of 2024, I graduate barber school. I still really don't know how to cut hair. Now immediately the next month go to a barber shop, Lavish Cuts barber shop, and at this time I sucked at barbering. I was so bad at barbering to me that I never even took a picture during barber school of any haircuts, a video, anything. I kind of just randomly hit the owner up on Instagram, and I told him my situation, like, hey, I'm new to barbering. I don't know how to cut. I don't have any of my work. Are you willing to work with me? He said, yeah. He said, hey, man, I can teach you what you don't know. What I can't teach you, some of my other barbers could teach you. And that's how I got into my first shop less than a month after graduating barber school. So the owner had 2 locations. He had a Pearland location and a Manville location. I started off at the Pearland location. And I was so green to barbering that I didn't even know how to price haircuts. So my very first day, I had a client, a walk-in, come in like within 10 minutes of me starting. And I didn't even know like what to charge him. And I just made up a price. I just said $25, which is funny thinking back about it. And I just stuck with that. But long story short, I ended up going to the newer location, which was in Manville, where I was the only walk-in barber there. Because at the time, the owner, it was just himself and another established barber. and they weren't doing walk-ins, so it was up to me just to do walk-ins. And there's kind of where I honed my skills and started building clientele just based purely off walk-ins. But I'm not a barbershop guy. I knew I wanted to be in a suite. I just wasn't in a position to up and go into a suite because I'm still was relatively new to cutting hair and I wasn't very confident in my cuts. Like it was points where I would be scared to look at a haircut after I'm done cutting it because I could see the mistakes, and I feel like if I could see them, everyone could see them. So I was very self-conscious about that. But I knew if I wanted to be in a suite, I would have to get over it. So fast forward to November of 2024, I started doing Turo again, and I ended up having 3 Turo cars at the time. And the way it works on Turo is you make about $900 per car every month. And my suite, my booth rent was $880. So in my head, I was like, okay, I could use one of my cars to pay for my suite if I ever decide to go into a suite. One of my cars could pay for it. And that's kind of what propelled me into going into the suite you see I'm in now. I knew that if push come to shove, if I cut no heads, I could still pay for my suite just off Turo alone. But luckily by this time I had built a semi-decent clientele in Manville, but the suite I was looking at was towards centrally located in Houston, so it's about 20 minutes from Manville and 20 minutes from downtown, so it was like right in the middle. So I just March of 2025, I started looking for the suite you see I'm in now, and it was the only suite I looked at, and I up and made the move. This suite I paid $900 a month for. It's $20 difference from the booth rent I started with. And I virtually came over here with no clients because a lot of my clients in Manville did not come with me. And it forced me to market myself, to hustle, to like put myself out there as a barber, because in Manville I did not do that. In the shop I was in, I was strictly reliant on walk-ins. I wasn't promoting myself. I wasn't doing anything, honestly. I was just hoping people walk in and I would cut them because I was scared to put myself out there because I didn't believe I was a good barber. But the move to the suite, I had to change my mindset and shift mentally to where I put myself out there. So far it has been semi-successful to me, especially with me only been cutting hair less than 2 years in totality. And I made this channel really to not be a barber educator, so to speak, but to get educated on what I could do better as a barber, to get critiques and criticism for other established barbers or people who know more about barbering than I do. So, I plan to upload haircuts, and I want feedback from you all on what I could do better, what I could improve on, and things of that nature. But so far, man, I've loved the barber journey. I've loved learning about it, and it's crazy to see my progression from a novice barber who was scared to do an edge up to now I can hold my own and give what I think are quality cuts. But you let me know what you think going forward.